Good morning. Good morning, everyone. GM, and welcome to another episode of FOMO Hour. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. Folks, it has been an eventful start to the week, to say the least. There's a ceasefire on the table. It's already been broken a few times. Trump is cussing as he's describing the situation. Meanwhile, markets are rebounding fiercely. And so we are asking today, is the war bottom behind us? Or are we in for more pain? We're going to break it all down on today's show. No Farouk, he's out all week, but we got Mando and Logan in the house. Boys, how you doing? GM, Mando.
GM, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. My birthday yesterday. I've just been catching up with stuff today. Catching strays.
Catching strays from rival casino products and articles being written, it seems. Things you hate to see, but loved your response. Yeah.
Well, I woke up after my birthday, checked CT, thought I'd do some positive tweets.
Well, the shirt is on today. He's taking matters very seriously, folks. We've also got Logan on with us. Always serious. Logan, GM.
Hey, good morning. I missed the birthday. I'm sorry, Mando. Happy birthday. Belated at this point. But yeah, I'm
34.
Nice. I normally tell people I'm not much of a birthday person, so I typically default to congratulations on being old. It's kind of like my little thing so congrats on being old. Nevertheless, I'm doing well here. It's extremely hot one more time. Market following in kind today.
Indeed. We're finally going to get past the heat, I think. Man, mid-30s. Mid-30s are great. I feel like the body typically holds up to the 30s. I feel like 40s when things start to get a little iffier. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So enjoy it. Hopefully you had a good one. Folks, what are we talking about on today's show? We're going to start with Mando's market report. We've got this weak response against the U.S. We got the ceasefire. Is it going to last? We saw huge moves across majors, alts, and memes on the back of that. Circle pumped more yesterday, maybe cooling off. It actually opened red today. TRON is cruising to 80 billion in stables. We had at least seven different corporate treasury announcements yesterday. Texas becoming the first state to buy Bitcoin. The housing authority in the U.S. now studying crypto as collateral. That was a big one. A couple big raises, one on Mega ETH and now one from Polymarket breaking before the show. Yesterday, we missed those NFTs and Telegram sticker sales. We might dive into that later today as well. So we've got a lot to cover. Before we dive in, shout out to our partners, starting with Wallet Connect. Wallet Connect is the connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. If you've connected to a Web3 app, you've seen Wallet Connect, that blue logo. It's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto, as recognizable as Visa at the checkout. If you want to learn more, follow at Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. And Kraken Pro gives active traders exactly what they need: deep liquidity, full customization, and 350 plus trading pairs. Build your own layout with drag and drop modules and trade seamlessly across desktop or mobile. Go to pro.kraken.com and trade without trade-offs. All right, Mando, if you're ready, let's get into it.
Oh, is that music?
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
GM, everyone. So yeah, we probably a good day all around. Feels like we're getting closer to the end of the Israel versus Iran situation. Trump has been calling it the 14-day war. There is a loose ceasefire in place. Now, there's been ceasefires before between Israel and Hezbollah and Israel and Hamas, and they've been broken before. The one they tend to have periods of like just after the ceasefire, both claim to have broken it, and then normally a few days later things start to like cool down. So hopefully we've got probably another 24, 48 hours of they did this, and then maybe after that it will calm down. I've never seen Trump as animated as he was getting into the is it a helicopter or a plane?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely seems like he's not happy at this ceasefire breaking down. Must not have slept that much, I imagine, over the last few days. Trump. But it does feel as though we're getting towards the end of this, which I think is a good thing. I think on the table now really is if this now turns into a broader peace process. Remember, Israel has been fighting Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. Many of them are seen to be Israel proxies, the Houthis as well. So if there is going to be a peace process here, I think there would be an aim to try and do it across everything. And that might take a little bit longer, but I think that will be the aim of the negotiators for sure here, to try and put a bed to kind of everything. So I think that will be probably a win for kind of all sides. I think in terms of markets, we had a bit of a rally, but like stocks never really sold off, so it wasn't really like a thing that really affected stocks. The main mover has been oil, which is down a decent amount. I think you had also other Gulf nations pumping a lot to kind of quell this. Trump was saying that yesterday. So the fact that this is already over kind of points to the idea that, yeah, oil isn't going to gap up. I think it also puts, I think oil is also starting to price in the idea of like maybe a wider peace process now after this as well, which would also take it lower. So yeah, tough to be long oil into the headlines that we got yesterday. I think they're pretty bad if you're looking for geopolitics to flare up again. In terms of macro stuff, there's been some light indications from Fed officials again that the July rate meeting might be in play. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops over the next few weeks. I don't think it will be, but let's see. They are surging that at least we will get one. Odds at least are surging that we'll get one by September. But yeah, let's see how that one unfolds. In terms of crypto, it was mainly just more treasury headlines. The biggest one was probably Pomp, known for the Pomp podcast, raising $750 million, looks like, to buy Bitcoin. There's a weird like corporate structure around it. It feels like it's a merger at the same time with another company. So they're basically raising $750 million to buy Bitcoin, which is a good sign. And then Texas coming in, going to buy 10 million of Bitcoin, which is pretty wild of a state of that size, which I think is quite a big step change, I think, in how people will view crypto. And again, just means that we'll see more and more of these treasury style companies. And I think that's going to be taken very, very positively. On macro, I think we just had consumer confidence, but nothing that will move the market that much. We had Tesla come out, I think, and announce their robo taxis are coming, so that's kind of taking Nasdaq high yesterday and today, but pretty quiet, I think, overall there. But yeah, same trend of treasury companies buying Bitcoin. Oh, the Metaplanet also said they're going to buy 5 billion as well, I think, so for good measure. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the corporate treasury stuff was wild. I'll just run through the list that I had for my newsletter. I had to put it in its own section. There were so many. So Pomp announced his $750 million raise for his Bitcoin company. We had this company called Sequans Communication. I think it's a semiconductor company. They're going to raise $380 million to buy Bitcoin. We've got this former hedge fund, Coral Capital. They're raising $100 million to start up a B&B style treasury company. Sailor, we had his headline, 245 Bitcoin last week. Metaplanet bought 1,100 last week. They now have 11,000 Bitcoin. So if folks haven't been following Metaplanet, they have been. I think they're number 2. I don't have the data in front of me, but they have to be close.
Do you know what Metaplanet does?
They buy Bitcoin.
No, they do hotels in Japan.
Yeah, they have like a Bitcoin hotel. I looked that up a while ago. It's, par for the course. But
They just had failing hotels, and then they pivoted to Bitcoin.
And now their hotels are doing better, I bet. Their stock has been doing quite well, I believe. Yeah, so it's up.
Sorry to interrupt you,
4%.
Tyler.
No worries. It's that's right.
Well, it's like,
in the mix
it's like
of it.
they're like the failed Holiday Inn of Japan decided that they were going to get involved and buy Bitcoin, and now everyone's heard of them. But they're like in Japan, they're probably just known as like that weird place you once got a hotel in some rogue city in the US. That's kind of what they are.
And now they're worth 920 billion GPY. So what's GPY to USD?
About 150 now.
All right, so they're not. It's not huge. So it's like 635 million or something. It's one way to go about it, certainly. And then Trump Media was another one. Not like it wasn't new news, but they basically confirmed their plans. They're going to do 2.3 billion. They're also going to do a $400 million share buyback. So they're flush with capital, and they're finding ways to use it. At least that seems to be the trend there. The rates move was a big one I was watching yesterday. So Bauman came out with some very dovish comments. Basically said inflation has been pretty low and we're open to cutting as soon as July. And yesterday, the CME odds popped to 23% for a July cut, which was a 50% move. But then Powell came out this morning and kind of squashed it and said, I'm not in a hurry to do anything. And yes, inflation is low, but we know these tariffs are looming and they can still spike inflation. So, this was actually one of my questions for you.
Right? It does have, everyone has to vote. So, although he has the deciding vote. I'm just trying to put in perspective that like it probably puts on the card the September rate cut if enough of the members think there should be a rate cut as well.
Yeah, it's heavily favored.
Yeah.
We're looking at 66% for one, 12% for two. So a massive favorite for a rate cut in September, which I think is the consensus view right now, is that we probably will not see one this summer, but the odds in July are increasing. It's still a lot of time. I think the big one for me, so I'm starting to think, like, what is the next summer catalyst? We kind of talked about this yesterday a little bit. If the war is behind us, what's next? And I'm wondering if it's this July 9th tariff deadline. So that the 90-day pause that Trump put in, I believe that comes up July 9th. And the reality is we haven't had a whole lot of progress on trade deals. I think the U.S. got one done with the UK, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah, I think China. The thing is, they'll just extend, right? If there's nothing on the table, like there's clearly been a lot on the table. It feels like the EU is becoming the more difficult one, which maybe is expected. But I think we'll see trade deals. I just don't know how many we'll see. I don't know. I was thinking about that today. Like, in terms of the big geopolitic flare-ups, right? Like, what could really go wrong? Middle East is always there, but there is somewhat of a light of the tunnel for the second half of this year that you could get some sort of a deal in place. And let's see. Ukraine, Russia. I do think that one of the byproducts of what Trump just did is that he's shown that he's not just a talker.
Mm-hmm.
Before there was a lot of like he never does anything. He's all talk, right? I do think that with Russia, Ukraine, you'll get a peace deal as well in the coming months, and then you're really just left with Taiwan. I was thinking to myself, I was like, is that the thing? Is Taiwan the next one? I don't know. China didn't get involved. Maybe they decide it's time. That's the only other like really big one on the horizon, if you don't count like the horrific civil wars going on in Sudan and some of the other African nations at the moment. But that's like the big one that would cause markets to massively flare up.
Let's see how the odds are trending. So I think a lot of sharper like geopolitical experts that I follow still have China invading Taiwan is one of the bigger items to look out for. I wouldn't call it a favorite outcome, but they think it's a very real chance of it happening. Now that's at some point. That's not in this year. They're not trying to predict exactly when it's going to happen. That does feel like the next one. So I think we want to fade that from a geopolitical standpoint. I think from a domestic standpoint, it's really just inflation driven by the tariffs. Like we need tariff deals or delays. Like I'm trying to think of like what else goes wrong. Like what throws a monkey wrench in this?
Well, there's always something, isn't there? There's always something. I don't think many of us saw this coming 2 weeks ago when Bitcoin was sitting at 110K and ETH was at 2,800.
Yeah.
I did not see this escalation coming. I really do start to think about these things. I'm just like, what is the thing? You know, you could get a significant terrorist attack. That's what you could get here.
Yeah.
That's still on the table. I don't know in like a Western nation. That I think that could happen to like derail a peace process potentially. I don't know how significant, but like that could be on the cards. And then yeah, like it would have to be. We've got tariffs, which I think we're at max tariffs. You know, I think they're probably going to come
Most
down
likely.
from tariffs. Yeah. It would really have to be like a bit of a. It would have to be rates going higher. I think would be the only thing that would really scare the market here. If 10-year keeps going past 5%. Now, it didn't really scare it that much. That was the first half of this year, but I do think there's a level. The US pays nearly $4 billion a day in interest rates, interest payments. Just to be very, very clear about that, like that is an absurd figure, absolutely absurd. Talk about like how much was given to Ukraine, right? About 40 billion, I think, or maybe close to 80 billion. That's like a month or two of interest payments. Like it is absurd how big the US interest rate payments are right now. And I think if they were to go up to like 5% plus, I think people would be scared. So that's my one. I would say to watch out for.
Well, we spent a few weeks trying to fix that and talking about austerity measures, and everyone freaked out. So we pivoted. we went Main Street over Wall Street for a week, and people did not like the S&P falling. So now it's back within 1% of all-time highs, but the debt is going up. So pick your poison.
I'm gonna play a game of like because I think people just what are the larger single budget items on the US deficit? I would love to see, like, just to put in perspective for people how big this fucking is. So yeah, you spend more on interest than you do on defense. That is wild.
Yeah. Those are the problem.
Yeah. What things cost 30 billion? This is really interesting to see what gets spent. NASA costs 30 billion. So that's a month interest. Wow. The total, so everyone talks about military aid, right? Or non-military aid. The aid budget is 30 billion.
Okay.
So that gives you a sense, again, like Elon going in there and being like, hey, we're going to cut all this aid to other countries, of which like Pakistan, Egypt, Israel, which other ones get big US aid? I need to think. What are the biggest? Ukraine, obviously.
Yeah, Ukraine.
Jordan, I think, gets a lot. Yeah, this is just wild. Like,
it puts it in perspective, and it's just going to keep getting worse, unfortunately. Which, in theory, is also one of the core theses behind stock markets going up, Bitcoin going up. It's just increased printing. The other headline that I saw is somewhat related to this. And I don't know if we've talked about it on this show yet. I'm curious for your thoughts. Is the other Fed change? I don't know that this is going in immediately, but I believe it's happening potentially soon. Is they're talking about easing one of these bank rules that allows that was, if it was like tied to how they were doing their accounting. And as I understand it, it's effectively going to make it easier for them to buy treasuries, and it's going to loosen credit policy. So with the ultimate outcome of it driving more liquidity into the market. Am I capturing that appropriately? Have you been following this? I'm trying to find the article here.
I mean, that's one way of saying it, I would say. The other way of saying it is saying that banks are probably less well capitalized, which is what happened after 2008. They're probably pitching.
So that's the downside risk.
You get more credit. Yeah, this looks like a retrenchment of some of the 2008 Glass Lewis acts. I think
it's the supplementary leverage ratio.
Right,
they're going to be changing that, effectively looser capital requirements, more lending. But it introduces a lot more fragility risk into the system. So what could go wrong? So we'll that's another one to look out for, I guess, as a short-term bullish catalyst. We don't know what it necessarily means longer term.
Yes, short-term easing of 2008 bank liquidity rules is probably can lead to a bit of a bump. I wouldn't say it's my favorite time to do that, given the amount of unrealized losses on a lot of these bank balance sheets right now. Let's see.
We shall see, indeed. Notable move in the fear and greed index. I think we were at 37 yesterday, already jumped to 47. And honestly, that is already, it's wild how fast that can shift. And you already see it, sentiment on the timeline. I would argue it's probably already a bit higher than that. But like, let's look at some of these moves. So Bitcoin 105.4, up 3%. It feels like it's up even more than that, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was in 98s. On Sunday? So up a solid 7,000 from there. ETH is back at 24.30, outpacing Bitcoin on the day. Solana outpacing it as well, back at 145. Hype up 4%, 37. I mean, that dip to 30 was erased rapidly. That was, you had a day and a half, maybe less, to buy that dip. So clearly the money was waiting to jump in there. Say was the leader. I thought this was just random, but apparently the state of Wyoming is looking at partnering with Say for their stablecoin. Do I have that headline right? Logan, did you have a chance to see
I did not see that. That
Right.
seems really weird, but why not?
Let's pull this up. Yeah, Say price skyrockets as Wyoming considers it for a new stablecoin.
I don't think that's what it really is. Like, if you've noticed that Say was a very heavily or popular short in the market, I think, before the headline came out. There's a couple of others that had like monstrous move yesterday's Move, that token that like they've basically given up on, that L1 that had like a monstrous move yesterday. Like, this is trading at 1.6 billion. So if you zoom out on the Say chart, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah,
but it's you have some big moves basically. I think you had a big short squeeze in the market yesterday. Big short squeeze. The top movers were I think a lot of the tokens that were heavily shorted. And I think Say is one of them. I think where did like Tia had a big move as well. Just feels like
man, all these charts look the same. That's
the one that I've been following is this. If you go into Hyperliquid, this long hype and long Bitcoin, short everything else. the vaults. If you go to the vaults, it's become one of the most popular vaults. I haven't put any money in here.
Oh wow, I've never seen
Short garbage.
this. Brilliant
But
branding.
this is now back to 0% last monthly return. Like this was like crushing it. But he was short a bunch of things that just had a massive short squeeze basically yesterday. I quite like this as a strategy. I said I've been doing it with certain tickers. But interestingly, he's short like ETH.
It's like yikes. ETH is number 2 on the list at 20x.
Yeah,
20x short.
I'm like long ETH hype Bitcoin and short other things against that basically.
This is an interesting vault. From my perspective, I'm not as deep in this as you. I would probably cut out like the top 8 of these shorts and maybe go further down. Like a little bit more of the true garbage. Like, I don't know. Throwing ETH and Sol in here along with a Bitcoin pump. So you're basically just betting on massive Bitcoin dominance.
And hype dominance in alts. That's basically what it is, yeah. Which I think is not what I would be betting on. I have exactly your thought as well. Is that like when I'm looking, I've told you, like I looked at Sui, I looked at Ondo, I looked at what else have I been short? Let me bring up my shorts.
Some of those IFTD memes were great shorts. Oh, Bear. Oh, yikes. Too soon.
It's not that I think they're terrible. It's just the tokenomics is terrible, right? Like, it just some of them just have like crazy tokenomics, and it's just really hard to get to the other side of that. What else was I short? Arbitrum. I'm short some Arbitrum. Yeah.
Also, anyone can create their own basket, and then other users effectively can choose if they want to play in there. All right, I've never really done around in here. It's interesting.
You get 10% of the profits of the vault, so you basically it's like running a hedge fund, but you keep 10%.
Got it.
And you have to seed it with an initial amount, basically.
So he was doing very well. And basically until the last week, basically got zeroed out. And now
hype moved down, and then
Bitcoin
hype kind of underperformed on this bounce, I would say. Like it's up. Like I said, I got in like 32-ish. It's up 10%-ish from that low, but like other things are up a lot more. Stuff that he's short is up a lot more.
Yeah. Coming back to some of the other movers, just quickly, there was some of the memes. SPX, very notable. I mean, we love Fartcoin. I love Fartcoin. Talk about it on the show a lot. I think it's somewhat indisputable that SPX is a faster horse right now. Like this thing, it went all the way to $1.60, crashed all the way to $1, and then rocketed 30% off the bottom. I mean, this was vicious move.
Did you see Whiff, Tyler? I saw that on the board. Partnered with DFDV. Did I see that this morning?
I missed the news. I saw that it was pumping. Whiff has been also strong. Blunts continues to bull post the Whiff chart as well. So it's hanging around. There is a little bit of a curl on this 1-year chart. If I squint a little bit. So I'm not going to be short Whiff. I'll say, Logie, any commentary from your side, just reactions to any of the major move, the meme move, alts, anything that we kind of covered in the first half of the show?
Not too much additional to add from my perspective. Sorry, I got a dog barking here, but I just wanted to add 2 little things. There was a quote from someone in an article by at the Crypt that talked about the ping ponging of headlines. I just continue to expect that, and then I'm distracted by the dog. I don't remember the other thing. Sorry.
Code for today, real quick, folks. The code for today will be Yeet.
Yeet.
So we will do double Yeet giveaways later today. 15 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes here. I got distracted by this price action. So Bitcoin 1055. All right. So we are moving up nicely here today. So feeling good about that.
I kind of feel like it's slightly a trap here. I'd be wary.
I've seen that we might be a little bit of a bull trap.
I don't think it's like a full trap, but like the price action that we saw, I don't know. Just be wary, man. Just we had this really big rally now, and it feels like yesterday everyone was just desperate to get the risk on as quickly as possible. You can see that with the short squeeze. And I think the next leg of this is probably a leg down, and then the good stuff probably rises to the top.
Maybe we have joyful July. It's now less than 1 week out. In the meme market, we got to talk about this useless coin. So Bonk Guy was right. Again, he's been pulling his own MYRIAD arc on this useless token. This thing's at 140 million now. It's up 37%. So from what I'm classifying as this new group of memes, the new soul memes, it's the clear leader right now. And I mean, man, this thing was hanging out sub 10 million 2.5 weeks ago. You're looking at a 20x in 18 days. We don't see that too often these days in this meme market. So I've found that notable. Labubu has been strong. Chill House has been strong. There's actually a handful printing 30 to 50% moves. It also looks like the virtuals ecosystem has been bouncing back, as well as that crypto AI board. I think crypto AI back to about 9 billion or so. So some signs of life here, perhaps because the pump token got delayed. I think that's the overhang. If we get any news on that, expect some more volatility in the Sol meme market. Checking in on our favorite stock, Circle, 240 for 249, down 5%. Didn't know it had red. Didn't know it had red days. Yesterday, it hit 300. It flipped USDC's market cap. It came close to flipping Coinbase. I think it may have flipped Robinhood. It was just some crazy comps out there. I think a lot has become very popular to be short this one. We will see how that plays out. It has been on a parabolic run. That much is certain. What I found interesting yesterday, we talked about Circle a lot. We don't need to spend as much time on it today. Was the TRON. So TRON is seeing what Circle is doing and wants everyone to know just how many stable coins they have. I'm trying to find the tweet. 80, yeah, here it is. All right. For those in the stream, 80 billion in USDT. So Tether's USDT surpassing $80 billion, up 20 billion in 2025. Just grinding up only. I saw a tweet that it's been consensus that Plasma is the proxy bet on Tether, but should it be TRON? And I feel like where this gets interesting is we know that TRON is going to IPO soon. I think they're
why
doing.
Does it matter if they have stablecoins?
Because stablecoins are the hot thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they make money. Like, I guess they make money on the fees, don't they? But it's a slightly different business model to Circle, I guess. In that they're not making the yield on the treasuries, right? TRON is a bet on money laundering and sanctions.
It's a bet on that. I think a bet on the East, perhaps more broadly. Maybe a bet on Justin Sun. And I think there's also now an argument to be made. It's a bet on Tether and stables. So that's it's top of mind for me. So if you are thinking about playing upcoming IPOs, of all the ones we know about right now, I think so. We got news that OKX is spying an IPO. TRON. What else? I think there was another one. Was it maybe Gemini? There's going to be a handful of these coming out. I would say the TRON is the most interesting. I mean, it depends on where they want to come out at.
It's
But
definitely
in
a
the
better story, I think, than Ripple.
Ripple's another one where I'm a respect the pump guy, not ready to go short, but by any means, just because of the army behind that one.
Yeah, actually, that's to be fair. If Ripple stock comes out, God help us.
The limit does not exist.
The stuff that's going to be said on TikTok, it's going to be wild.
We'll continue to monitor this sector. There's clearly the growing cohort of CT is now migrated to just trading stocks and is leaving our beloved alts alone. Some breaking news before the show, more on the raising side. So it looks like Polymarket is raising $200 million at a valuation over $1 billion. So big numbers for them. This comes just a couple weeks after news of their integration with X and XAI. They're going to be the prediction market of choice for Twitter. That was big. And I think what also has jumped out to me is there was always the conversation of what will prediction markets, Polymarket do post-election. And during the quiet times, Polymarket has primarily rode sports betting to keep their daily volumes up. But now, like during the geopolitical crises, it's found itself back on top of the timeline again. And you see more and more folks kind of referencing markets, talking about what's going to happen. I think Polymarket's X account may have leaned a little bit too hard into it. The direction that their bettors are predicting what's going to happen. And there's a little bit of egg on their face yesterday with some of their aggressive promotion. But kind of hard to argue with the success they've had. And some of these markets saw, I think that one, the leading Iran one, like would the U.S. strike back? One of those saw like 40 million in action. So that they're seeing big numbers. Logan, any response on your side?
Yeah.
On the Polymarket race.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, you made note, it's being referenced more frequently by people that you would characterize as like legitimate, reporters or analysts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not seen as perhaps as Polymarket perhaps would like it to be the source of truth or anything like that. It's a data point, which at this point in time is becoming a more legitimate data point to potentially build an argument or, add to an argument. And I think that's pretty important because the validity of these markets was certainly in question, coming into the election last year about exactly where things fell with the markets having Trump, Polymarket, et cetera, having Trump, much higher than perhaps polls did. So I think it's really interesting. I mean, $1 billion valuation, I don't know what that means really for this space. Again, that number, it doesn't mean anything to me at this point in time because meme coins are $1 billion, things like that. It's tough for me to really to feel what that means. So I don't have too much to comment there, but I think this is a space that, of course, has definitely legitimized itself. And I still think is probably the cycle winner, Polymarket, prediction markets in general, the cycle winner from this last year in terms of legitimate adoption and further growth potential.
You hear the take a lot, like what has crypto brought? What use cases has crypto brought to the world, right? And everyone's there's the public take is nothing or very little. I feel like prediction markets is a huge one. Like this is such an easy one to point to from this cycle, and I would agree that they're the big winner. As for what this means specifically, one, potential airdrop, right? I mean, a lot of folks do think there will be a Polymarket airdrop at some point. I don't know that I have personally a strong read on that. I feel like they will probably go the IPO route if I had to guess, but maybe they can figure out a way to do both. But any big raise, I think, is going to continue.
They're going to have to be doing a raise. Circle just IPO'd and went to 60 billion. Like Polymarket's IPOing, I'll bet a house on it over a token.
So you think no token?
No, why would they do a token? They're based in
Yeah.
New York. Like,
we need a Polymarket token market.
they're probably sitting there going like getting insane valuations right now.
Yeah, IPO definitely makes more sense, especially on the back of this. With this recent raise, probably a little bit further out. So we will certainly see, but big momentum from them, and I think good for the broader prediction market space as well. I was scanning the MYRIAD board this morning, and I think we're seeing some volume increases over there as well on some of these markets. So that's been fun to see. Like this Pingu market has been one of my personal faves. Will Pingu be top 100 at the end of this week? And there's been some nice volatility and some nice betting action on this.
This was more like a coin flip when I wrote about it last week. I think it was number 101 on Friday. It was like $8 million behind the Zero token, Layer Zero token. So
now it's back. So now it's, I think it was 99 when I checked this morning. And folks like that. The other raise I wanted to talk about, trying to find my article here, was a Mega ETH one. And this was tied to this liquidity DEX or GTE. At first I thought it was a game because of the promo ad that they were in. Here we are. Yeah, GTE, $15 million Series A, led by Paradigm. And they are dropping a global token exchange there on Mega ETH. Was chit-chatting with Bread Guy. He's, a primary, I don't know what you'd call his role at Mega ETH, one of their mouthpieces. He does a lot. He wears a lot of hats. But we were chit-chatting about it. So this raise puts them valued somewhere around 160 million. Then if you start to do your speculation, your fun hopium math, if you think Paradigm's looking for a 10x bet, they're projecting a $1.6 billion target. Then what would that mean for Mega ETH? And then if you're in the camp that Mega ETH would be valued perhaps as a sum of its apps, which I think is what they're kind of pushing, the message they're pushing for, versus TVL or other aspects. So something to potentially consider. I think the NFTs, those Mega ETH soul-bound NFTs were at a $500 million valuation. So perhaps those are worth a bit more on paper right now, but we'll certainly see. Of course, we're going to need some more apps than a handful, but this was a big one over there from Mega ETH. So we'll continue to follow. Like to see some action there. Logan, the story that we wanted to talk about yesterday that we didn't get into it, maybe we can revisit it today quickly, was what's been happening with these NFT projects and these Telegram sticker sales? Because we're seeing some pretty big numbers here.
Yeah, so Telegram's been sort of leaning into this as a protocol for a while, but I think the leading sticker shop launched in like December or something like that. And then in January or February, Telegram made its gifts, not GIF, but gift with a T, the little things that you can pass back and forth. They made those NFTs as well. So just further kind of integration of the messaging app and its use and features with sort of the open network right? And the blockchain. And people have just definitely leaned into it. The Bored Ape one from the other day, I think, was the one that really got this on people's radars. But there's a whole handful, as you're showing in the screenshot here. Like there's a Pudgy Penguin one. I think there's an Azuki one. And there's a bunch. And the stickers themselves, like they're not going to blow you away. You're not seeing like absurd price appreciation on the stickers themselves to the $20,000-$30,000 type like randomness we were seeing with NFTs, right? But they're no joke. I think when I checked yesterday in preparation for talking about this, like the Bored Ape one, the like cheapest sticker was like 46 ton, which I think is like $90 or around $92.
Wow.
Pudgy's might have been a little bit higher than that. Quite a bit for stickers, but you recall, I mean, this got some love. Even aside from this, you remember like Sofamon, right? Do you remember that company? or not.
Briefly, I couldn't give you the pitch for what they did.
Well, I think it was Telegram stickers. It may not have been just Telegram stickers. It could have been messaging app stickers. I don't know the exact one either. And I think they may have launched or done some stuff with Blast, and so perhaps lost in the shuffle somewhere. But I don't know. I mean, this is an avenue that people and collections are rightfully taking advantage of at this point in time because people want to trade them. Was that close to 10 million in volume you had up there?
Yeah.
And then, even on this is not sticker specific, but on the Telegram NFT side, there's some NFTs that have been running up as well. In my timeline, from time to time, you see talk about those plush Pepes. There's rumors that Luca bought one. I don't remember if that was ever verified or not, but those had breached, kind of the 5-figure, $10,000 plus thing. So when things are boring, which they basically are right now, you get these pockets of outperformance and manias. We saw it with ENS, we see it all the time from time to time. That's what this feels like. I don't know exactly how sustainable it may be, but this feels like that pocket of just interest for the time being.
So is there a secondary market?
There are.
People are kind of trading these.
Yeah. So they're like bots inside Telegram, just like you would do with like a trading bot for Solana meme coins. It's a little more intensive than that. It kind of pulls open a UI for you to interact with. But yeah, it all happens right inside Telegram. So I mean, it's really easy to do should you wish to experiment with it. And then, of course, I don't send a lot of stickers really in Telegram, but I know some people who do send a lot of stickers. And, if you're looking to enhance your chat experience, then I guess it makes some sense to add some NFT stickers to your cart.
Stickers can be fun, right? Sending memes is a fun thing to do in a group chat. I'm looking at some of these prices right now. I had already seen this. So these Pudgy and Friend Pingu Baby Shark stickers are at a $764 floor right now. That is wild. This other Pingu Cool Blue is $390. Pingu and Nextcar at $260. I think my takeaway when I saw this is NFT products are continuing to find ways to monetize 4 years out from launch. At least some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, the best ones. Yeah, I mean, not to knock any that haven't done it yet. But you take a look at this list. It's the ones that are still here, that are still doing stuff, that are still in tune.
I mean, no offense to anyone, I wouldn't say Doodles has the most diehard community in NFTs, and they've got 500,000 sticker sales.
But it does have one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best collections for something like this. Right? They're just super great art, super great colors, super great. So it actually it makes a lot of sense to me to see something like that up here. I see Klanos are on here, same sort of mold.
Did you
full disclosure? That's I don't own any assets in either of those ecosystems, but I love those colors, so I'm a sucker for it.
Quick
maybe
side,
REKT. Do some REKT ones.
That's exactly where I was going with that. I think REKT stickers could do quite well. Logan, I know you're a Doodle fan, so I'm going to share this for you. I don't know if you saw this, the Doodle Opepin set. Did you see this one? Looks like it got to consensus, so this one might go.
Yeah. My lone disdain's too weird, too harsh of a word. This is a little too close to the. You know what I mean? Those are a little too close to the replicas, of Doodles, in my opinion. But I love the color schemes and stuff like that. I really like that. The one of one there looks really, really nice. I'll
be honest. If you showed this to me quickly, this bottom right one, and asked me if this was an original Doodle NFT, I might have said yes. Yeah, it is fairly close. But that Pudgy set has done quite well in the Opepins. So I think this one will probably do pretty well here as well. I think we went through the list. We got 5 minutes left in the show. I know we're going to do double Yeet action. That's going to take a little while. Yeah, that was the end of my list. So if you guys are ready, maybe we get into some Yeet here. The code is Yeet today, folks. You have another minute or so to get in if you haven't entered already. And we are going to get into some spins.
Give me 1 second. Okay, this should work.
The Yeeter boards. All right, let's spin the
Right.
wheel.
Oh, there's a zoom view now. Look at
Ooh,
this.
I like the zoom. Let's
Look at this.
zoomed. All right, 96 entries. What do we got? For the long run.
So I need to really quickly check.
Well, we need to
something.
check. I know they have
Yep.
won somewhat recently.
Yeah, give me a sec because I'm on working multiple screens here. I'll close that and just make sure. We'll do another. I'll spin another one while I found that up as well for the long run.
So we're gonna do our second spin.
Yep.
All right, who we got? Mitchell Gunn. I have not seen that handle before.
No, never have I. So it was for the long run.
That should be a clean winner there. Go ahead and request.
For the long run. If not, we can see them also. It's not working today, isn't the chat for some reason? For the go on. The kick chat. It went down for some reason, so we can't, but we can still see them in the other side. For the long run is approved. He did win on the 16th, so it's close, but he is in. And then Michelle Gunn, I've never actually seen before.
Michelle Gunn, go ahead and request if you're in the space so we can get you up here.
If not, we'll just check that they're in the kick space. For the long run, and Michelle Gunn,
Michelle,
right,
so
they
I see Michelle messaging us.
In the chat?
Yeah.
That's fine. We're going to do Plinko today for both of them anyway, so as long as they're both on, we're okay.
Awesome. So we'll get Plinko loaded up here quickly. For the long run, you're in the space. You want GM. How you feeling?
How's it going, guys? Good morning.
Congrats. You're running hot, my friend. Hopefully, what game did you play last time?
It was coin race. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have some fun with Plinko. Plinko is still my personal favorite.
I like Plinko, yeah.
So Sims, what are we doing? $5 balls, $105 balls. What are we thinking today?
I'm open to it. What do you think, lads? What's everyone fancy? We've got 500 to spend. How do we do it?
Yeah. So quickly, you both have banked $500. You're going to walk away with that at a minimum. I like the $105 balls because you get the most chances for the 1000x.
Yeah.
$105 balls.
All right. Let me just make note of how much is in the account so we can calculate this up.
So first, for the long run, we'll go first, and then Machili.
2614.07. Right. Let's go for it then. Auto bet $5, 100.
All right. So this is for the long run up first.
For the long run. Go. Oh, turbo mode. Go.
All right.
I should do it at lightning speed. We're going to be here for a while.
I put it on turbo. Oh, shit. Well, we'll go for it now.
The next one will be faster.
Stop the auto bet and start again.
Is it going to be here a while?
Yeah. Stop the auto bet.
Yeah.
And then just
And do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know how many balls will drop. That's all.
That's fine.
So turn
69.
turbo off. Oh, 69, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, keep
Do you leave
turbo
turbo on or off?
Keep turbo on.
And go.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're
There
back.
we go.
All right,
There we're back.
Now we're moving fast. All right. Ooh,
There's
go
a
left.
look here now. Big numbers. 4x, 2, 9x there.
Oh, 9. Another 4. Another 4. Oh, it's not still 4 X's in there. Do we know what we
07.
I think roughly 500 again. He won.
Yeah.
So
looks like he roughly broke even. So you're going to walk away with close to $1,000 today for the long run. Congrats. Thank you.
Not bad. Thank you, guys.
Not a bad little Tuesday morning for you, my friend. Thanks for listening,
Thanks, guys.
as always. All right. Chile, I still don't know how to say your name, but you are up next. We're going to run it the same for you. $105 balls, light speed, turbo mode. Sims, we ready? Ooh. Oh, I thought that one was going. Ooh, 4X. A lot of 4Xs there.
9 9.
Go with 9. 9x set. Come on, we need to go right or left here. Go right. That one came in a little closer. So that one was a little bit less, probably closer to like an $800 win.
Yeah, something like that. $700-800 win. Still decent for both people though. Like 800 a pop, near enough, give or take.
Love it. So we will coordinate with both of you after today's show. As for today, that is going to be it, folks. Thanks. I want to thank all of our listeners for joining us. I want to thank my co-hosts. Thank our partners as always. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until then, go make it a beautiful day.